Hello neighbourinos, I hope you're all well. I thought I'd take a moment to record a short video about the scenario response for HSP216, Policing and Governance. This assignment is hopefully both interesting and something where you'll learn a little bit more about the broad issues that we discuss in this unit, because you will need to address a specific scenario, and I've got that up online on the Milo site for you, but I've also got it in this PowerPoint presentation. And as per usual, with all of these PowerPoint presentations, I have a PowerPoint, which is above this video. So just download it and flick through as you're listening to me blab on about it. So the scenario response is easy in that you need to just read the scenario, and then you need to respond. But of course you need to do a bit of research, right? So you read the scenario, you do a bit of research on the computers, the databases, Google Scholar, and then do a bit of reading and make connections between the two of those things, all right? That's the key. Because if you just talk about the scenario and you don't have the research, it's not going to end well. Due date for this one, as per usual, is on the Milo site for you. The word count is 1,500 words, and I'm thinking that's approximately 5 to 7 slides, but a maximum of 8 slides. And this excludes, the word count excludes your reference list, which you can just put onto your final slide. So what you need to do is write a 1,500 words or about 5 to 7 slides PowerPoint presentation responding to the scenario that we've got up on the Milo site. And this is because PowerPoints and presentations and posters are becoming more and more common in work in criminal processing systems, including police. And having those types of skills where you're actually presenting to a crowd is pretty important. Now, although we don't have any face-to-face contact in this unit, we can at least get you presenting. And I can assure you, it's just as nerve-wracking when you're doing it in a locked room like I am right now. So you at least get to have a little bit of a trial run with that, have some practices, get to understand what it's like to put together a presentation, because sometimes it can feel clunky because it's not written like an essay. So all of these things are the reasons why we're doing this particular task. So you address your mock police scenario, case or event related to police governance as set by the unit coordinator, and I will read through that in a moment. Most importantly, you need to draw on readings from the unit and wider reading and literature that you've found through the library databases, Google Scholar, and you need to reference your response. Now, the scenario is focused on the random breath testing scandal that Victoria Police was recently involved in. So it was a controversy where officers were found to be falsifying breath tests. There's some stories up online for you that I've put there so you can learn about this. One of the key reasons that they talk about for these falsified tests, though, most importantly for this unit, was these massively unrealistic targets that Victoria Police had set as a key performance indicator of good police work. Right? So as part of policing work, police organisations set these targets to say, look, we're performing really well. And when they meet the target, that means that they can say, we actually are performing well. If they don't meet the targets, then they need to review that and see what's going on, right? Now, those targets can sometimes be really useful, like sexual assault reporting. It's a no-brainer that we should be actually understanding how many people are reporting sexual assault, so that we can then track that over time and see if there's a dip or if there's an increase and all of that sort of stuff. However, there's other things where we probably really don't need to have set targets, like how many fines we're giving to young people on a daily basis, because we know that fines are not very effective at all with young people. So there was a lot of questioning around these unrealistic targets that they had set, and that's what they investigated. Given their role in the police oversight for Victoria Police, the Independent Broad-Based Anti-Corruption Commission, more commonly known as IBAC, released a statement following the release of the inquiry report. And there's a report link there for you on the website. And there's a little bit of a quote there from the IBAC Commissioner. Now, interestingly, IBAC has done a bit of work on these types of processes, but they're still worried that Victoria Police could still falsify stuff in addition to other jurisdictions because of the unrealistic targets. So they've warned that this could happen again, right? So that's what I want you to do. I want you to pretend that you're a member of the team at IBAC that heads up prevention and communication with them. You've been asked by the IBAC Commissioner to develop a PowerPoint presentation that looks at addressing the various problems raised in the inquiry. You've been told that you can choose one point or two of the major points raised. Your mission is to develop a plan and make the argument to make recommendations about how this issue might be prevented with Victoria Police in future. You might seek out options that encourage police organisations to move towards a system which doesn't rely on key performance indicators or unrealistic targets to demonstrate the effectiveness of police business. How can they do this? Where can you find examples like this? This is why you have to put your thinking caps on, folks. That's why I didn't want you so much to be worried about coming up with a perfect polished essay. I really am genuinely interested in what ideas you can find. So the most interesting part of this, I think it is anyway, because I've come up with it obviously, but you're told that you need to pitch your ideas to the IBAC Commissioner and the Deputy Commissioner, and most importantly, you are going to be speaking to a number of people from Victoria Police as well, including key police deputy commissioners and commanders that have oversight of police ethics and integrities. So this is high stakes stuff, folks. You need to make a really watertight argument for why this needs to happen, or why this change needs to be put in place. So make sure you do your research. And often when you do research, you can actually find examples that exist out there, so you don't need to come up with one on your own. So make sure you do a bit of reading to see what you can find. Okay, so this is my suggested structure, I guess. You need to develop your 8-slide maximum audio recorded PowerPoint presentation. The first slide will be your introduction, I guess, and of course the final slide will be your list of references. And so you'll want one before that kind of concludes and says, this is why we need to put this new system into place. And this is how it's better than the system that's focused on unrealistic targets and KPIs and things like that. So you'll need to bring in your research literature as well. That's absolutely imperative. But really how you structure those middle parts is up to you, because it really will be based on what you find in the research that you can implement in order to overcome the issues with a focus on unrealistic targets or setting those targets. So I've got some general tips here for you to just get you thinking along the lines of the types of stuff you need to be looking at. So for instance, your ideas and your argument can be depicted visually via some pictures or screen captures. So be creative here, use that type of stuff. Make sure you bring your ideas from the research, as I've said before. You probably need to find a bit of extra literature to really understand what's going on, particularly that talks about how police organisations need to be accountable in terms of what they call BAU, which is business as usual. How can we make police work accountable and transparent and reportable in ways that don't involve numbers? It's a pretty crucial question, and there are some examples out there that you can find. What do other police services around the world do? Have they got a better model that you could implement? It's a no-brainer, folks. So do your research, and it should pay dividends for you. Your response needs to be narrow and focused. It needs to be realistic for the purpose of implementation. You can't just do this broad project on police performance management. You need to say what you need to get rid of and then find a thing that needs to be implemented. So be specific. You'll need to draw on current literature, as I've already mentioned. And to record your voice on a PowerPoint slide, you go to the Insert tab, you click on the little speaker icon, include audio, and then you record your audio. Now, be careful. Sometimes audio slides, if you record for 5 or 6 minutes on one slide, it won't attach to the slide. So when you upload it, all the audio will be gone. The key is to getting your audio down to about 1 or 2 minutes per slide at the most, and then your presentation will upload really well. So keep that in mind, okay? You won't be marked down though if you do have to split your presentation, but if the shorter you keep your presentation slides, the better it's going to be. So if you practice it and you find that one of your slides is 8 minutes, you've got a problem and you need to fix it. So, what does the marking rubric say? If you want to develop a good HD for this one, which is your high distinction, you need to have a nice clear discussion of theoretical knowledge, so including the literature and stuff like that. A good discussion of what the situation is and how you're responding to the scenario, and definitions of your key terms. Make sure your critical analysis of the issue is demonstrated and balanced and justified all the way through, and you've got an argument that's relevant and evident. These are the reasons why we need to replace this thing. This is what the research says. This is a great thing to bring in, and this is why we need to do it, because this is what the research says. Make it really specific and clear. You should be able to show or demonstrate some sort of initiative that shows excellent insight and planning. And then criteria 3 shows a focus on looking at, responding fluently to essay type questions and things like that. So excellent grammar, spelling, expression, consistent use of Harvard, above average number of high quality references used. So even though you've got your list of references at the end, make sure you include your citations in your PowerPoint slides too, so the links are really clear. With any other PowerPoint presentation that you do, you will need to have some sort of structure, a basic introduction, body, conclusion type of structure that you would do for an essay. Perfectly fine. That's it. If you have got any questions at all, please don't hesitate to get in touch, because I'm more than happy to answer them for you. But at this point, I'll say have a fantastic week, and I will see you later.